future. You've got intelligent robots gliding silently between rows of crops, drones buzzing overhead, keeping an eye on everything, and powerful AI predicting the absolute perfect moment to plant, to water, to harvest. Now, this isn't some far-off science fiction fantasy. This is the digital harvest, and it's happening right now. Let's dive into this because this tech isn't just cool, it promises a real solution to one of the biggest challenges humanity has ever faced.
Okay, so here's the deal. We have to figure out how to produce more food than at any point in history. And we have to do it while the world is dealing with climate change, shrinking resources, and some serious environmental strain. AI offers some incredibly powerful tools to help us tackle this head-on. But, as we're about to see, every powerful solution brings with it a whole new set of really complex problems.
So, before we go any further, let's get clear on what we're actually talking about here. Agricultural AI really comes in two main flavors. First, you've got the brains of the operation, the AI software. This is the code, the algorithms that are just crunching massive amounts of data to give farmers advice and predictions. And then you've got the brawn, the autonomous robots. These are the actual machines out there in the dirt, doing the physical work. All right, so let's start with the promise. Why is everyone so excited about this? Why is so much money and brain power pouring into this tech? Well, it's because the potential upsides here, they're truly staggering. So here's our roadmap. First, we're going to look at all that amazing promise. Then, we'll peel back the curtain and look at the hidden risks, the ghosts in the machine. After that, we'll ask who really wins and who might get left behind. We'll even explore some of the deeper ethical questions that often get missed. And finally, we'll think about how we can actually shape this technology for the better. At its heart, the whole argument for bringing AI into farming really rests on two huge ideas that, honestly, we can all get behind. The first is beneficence, which is just a fancy way of saying this technology should actively do good for people. The second is sustainability, making sure we can farm in a way that protects the planet for our kids and grandkids. Pretty simple, right? And check this out. This really brings it to life. We're talking about AI-powered robots that can spot individual weeds and spray just that one plant instead of blanketing an entire field. Field trials have shown that this could slash herbicide and pesticide use by up to 90%. I mean, think about that. That is a massive win for the environment and for a farmer's bottom line. And it's not just chemicals. Water is, without a doubt, one of our most precious resources. So get this. In one California study, an AI platform analyzed all the soil and weather data and helped almond growers cut their water use by a quarter, a full 25%. And the crazy part, they actually increased their yields while doing it. So how does all this magic actually happen? Well, we're talking about real-world tools, like John Deere's See & Spray Tech, or even smartphone apps like Plantix that can diagnose a plant disease just from a quick photo. It's basically about giving farmers these incredible superhuman senses to see and react to tiny problems before they become huge disasters. But okay, you knew this was coming. It's not all perfect harvests and sunny days. This incredible technology also brings a whole new set of risks, of complications, what some people are calling the ghosts in the machine. To really get a handle on these risks, we need a new set of principles. We're going to start with the doctor's oath, non-maleficence. In other words, first, do no harm. Then we have to add in responsibility, privacy, and the two big ones that really hold everything together, trust and transparency. Let's make this super concrete. I want you to imagine this scenario. An AI-guided robot out in the field makes a mistake, a big one. It ruins an entire section of the harvest. So who's on the hook for that? The farmer who owns it? The company that built the robot? The programmer who wrote the faulty line of code? The truth is, right now, nobody really knows. The lines of accountability are incredibly blurry. And all that uncertainty, It leads to another huge concern. This quote right here, it absolutely nails it. Farmers are getting really worried about who owns and controls the unbelievable amounts of data being collected from their land every single day. If just a few giant tech companies hold all the keys to that data, you create a massive power imbalance, and farmers could end up totally dependent and, frankly, vulnerable. And the threats don't stop there. Think about it. Digitally connected farms could be a prime target for hackers. There's also a real risk that as we lean more and more on AI, we start to lose generations of hard-won human farming knowledge. And kind of ironically, the very systems that are designed to save resources can use a whole lot of energy themselves. A single AI error could even lead to serious ecological damage, like dumping way too much fertilizer into the soil. So, zooming out from the individual farm, we have to ask a bigger question. Who is this technology really for? Because as it stands, it looks like the benefits of this digital harvest are not being spread around evenly at all. And this brings us to our next set of principles: justice, fairness, and autonomy. Does everyone actually get a fair shot at using these tools? And maybe more importantly, does this technology empower farmers? Or does it actually take away their freedom to run their own farm as they see fit? This leads us to one of the biggest hidden dangers in the whole world of AI, something called algorithmic bias. See, if you train an AI model almost entirely on data from huge, wealthy, high-tech farms in, say, North America, its advice might be totally useless or even harmful for a small family farm in Africa with different crops, different soil, and a different climate. The OECD has actually warned this could push already vulnerable communities even further to the margins. This table just lays it all out, and it's pretty stark. Big commercial farms have the money, the high-speed internet, and the sheer scale to make AI work for them. But smallholder farms, they often have none of that. So the fear isn't just that AI won't close the gap between the rich and the poor in farming. The fear is that it could widen that gap into a massive chasm. Okay, now we're going to go one level deeper. Most of the time, when you hear people debate AI ethics, they're talking about data, bias, and accountability. All super important stuff. But in farming, there are other, even more fundamental principles at stake. Principles that almost nobody is talking about. Yeah, research into the ethics of ag AI has found two huge gaps in the conversation: dignity and solidarity. Dignity is about having a fundamental respect for nature itself, for living things. And solidarity is about the importance of community, of shared knowledge, of neighbors helping neighbors, which has been the backbone of farming for centuries. And this quote, wow, this gets right to the heart of the challenge to that idea of dignity. Just read it. Instead of designing a robot that's gentle enough to handle a delicate plant, the suggestion is to re-engineer the plant to make it tougher for the robot's convenience. It makes you ask a really profound question. Are we using technology to serve the natural world, or are we trying to force nature to serve our technology? And what about solidarity? Well, this slide shows a potential domino effect. You have a technology designed for efficiency, right? But it could accidentally lead to less sustainable practices, like using more chemicals because it's so cheap and easy. Heavier robots could damage soil health over time, and a farm that's completely automated might not need to rely on neighbors for help or advice, slowly chipping away at the very fabric of rural communities. So, where does all of this leave us? We're standing at a critical fork in the road. The technology is here, it's real, and it's getting more powerful by the day. The choices that we make right now are going to define the future of food for everyone. If there's one thing to take away from all this, it's that technology is not destiny. AI is a tool, that's it. And whether that tool helps us build a more fair and sustainable food system, or just a more ruthless, efficient machine, that depends entirely on us. It's going to take everyone: developers, farmers, policymakers, you and me, working together to build a future that puts these ethical principles first. And that leaves us with one final big question.
As we race to innovate, what's our actual goal? Are we trying to cultivate a world that's healthier, fairer, and more resilient? Or are we just focused on building a bigger, faster, more efficient machine? The answer to that is going to determine what kind of harvest we all reap in the end.